Hey, say what's happening, man. Tip T.I. Harris here, your host for expediTIously. Now, yesterday what we did was, man, we had the pleasure of speaking to former Surgeon General under Barack Obama's tenure, Dr. Benjamin. Now, the purpose of expediTIously has always been to take the matters that concern the community, that are the discussions that are relevant to the culture, and have them with people who are relevant to the discussion. And this is no different with COVID-19. I read the comments, I know there are a lot of questions, a lot of myths, a lot of misconceptions. I know most people just comment without any real information being delivered to them. So I decided to speak to the people who can actually answer these questions for you. And I felt that Dr. Benjamin was a perfect place to start. Now, you may agree, you may disagree. It may fall in line with some of the things that you already had as a premonition, and it may not. But I always operate on the structure of if it don't apply, let it fly. You dig what I'm saying? Just inform yourself as much as possible, man, to help you and your family. So together we can fight through this. You dig what I'm saying? Without further ado, this is expediTIously.
How you doing, Dr. Benjamin?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. I can't complain.
Good. That's a good start.
Yeah, I mean, I'm optimistic, encouraged.
Good.
And eager to learn as much as I can about this pandemic. I know you have blessed us with your presence to dispel some rumors and debunk some myths, if you will, about this virus. We all know now that Black and brown people are dying at a higher rate than others from the coronavirus. Now, while these are, still conspiracy theories because we don't have any true statistics because they haven't released them yet. Can you let us know what the reason is?
Actually, they are true. You can talk to the people whose family members have died and they're burying their family members. They know they're true. So these are true. Health disparities has been around for a while, and we in public health have been talking about it for the last at least 10 years or more, to the point that we've been doing research on it. I have a health policy center that's devoted specifically to eliminating health disparities. And one of the things I've done, particularly during my time as Surgeon General and as a family physician, is that prevention is the key. And we know that we in the African American communities have certain illnesses that are much more prevalent. Things like high blood pressure, diabetes, strokes. We know that we have those, and we have them for various reasons. And because of that, that puts us at higher risk. When this first started coming out, they were talking about people who were vulnerable, and the elderly and the vulnerable at risk, meaning the elderly and the people who had pre-existing illnesses. And most of us thought about cancer and HIV and things like that, and older people. But what we weren't thinking about was people with diabetes, or people with high blood pressure, and people who don't even know they have diabetes, or people who don't even know they have high blood pressure. They were also at higher risk. What we're seeing is that these are the same people that are coming into getting sicker, much faster, and seems to be dying more. And that's what's really alarming. And anyway, I can talk about this.
Thank you. I mean, we really truly appreciate the facts, and Dr. Benjamin's here to set it straight. And the reason why I said that, we didn't have the statistics is because most states have yet to release racial data since the pandemic began. Why do you think this is the case? Do you think certain people in power tend to look better if the numbers remain lower?
No, I don't tend to think that way. I know that over the years, particularly all of this research we've done around trying to eliminate health disparities, we had to set up systems to collect this data. Because when someone asks you your race, asks you your socioeconomic status, you want to make sure they're not going to use it against you. And so some people are ready to answer those questions. And so some states have set it up and some hadn't. So we're seeing different people collected in different ways, because what's good information to help us do research can also harm us if it's used in the wrong way. So.
Absolutely. This pandemic is exposing a longstanding issue of institutional racism and classism. What are some policies that need to be implemented to improve these unequal systems?
You know, life is unequal, and all of us have grown up knowing that. And so
that's a bar.
So I agree with the statement you made, but I'm more of a person to say, what can we do about it now? Let us, how can we improve our own lives? How can we make our opportunities better? We should use this crisis as an opportunity to overcome some of these barriers. And hopefully it's highlighting some of those. One of the things I hope that we come out of this as a society is when we talk about, I'm hearing a lot today about the economic problems that we're having, the people that are out of jobs, they're at home and they don't know how they're going to make their rent. They don't know how they're going to, where their next paycheck is coming from. They don't know if they do have a job, how they're going to take care of childcare. Well, poor people have had to deal with that every day.
Quite some time.
And this is not new to us. I hope that people will come back understanding what poor people have had to go through every single day and have some sort of empathy on the next side of this, and stop blaming the victims, because it's not easy in this society to make it through. And so all of those things add to our health. And I have a Gulf States Health Policy Center, and one of the things that we're trying to do is talk about the social determinants of health. And that's really what you're getting at, is these social determinants, that health includes education. It is, science shows us, we have studies to show that just by getting a high school diploma, your death rate is 2.5 times less if you have a high school diploma. Nothing else, not a thing, not your job, anything else, just get that high school diploma. Yet we don't push that. We need to make sure our kids get educated. And 4 more years of education takes 10% chance off your death rate if you have diabetes and hypertension and all of those things that we were talking about. So getting an education matters. We know that your financial health is directly related to your physical health. And so we need to teach people how to balance their checkbooks, how to write a resume, how to prepare yourself for financially taking care of yourself and your family. That relates to your physical health as well. So those are the things we're talking about when we talk about social determinants. Clean air, clean water. Like I said, this is my soapbox, so I could talk to you forever. But I do want to talk about
definitely appreciate it.
Like clean air, clean water. These things are important, but it's not easy to be healthy. We have to make the healthy choices, the easy choices, and the affordable choices. It shouldn't be hard to find healthy food, but it is. It shouldn't be hard to find affordable healthy food. It shouldn't cost me more if something is healthy versus unhealthy. It shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's real easy to find an unhealthy meal on the go. Very difficult to find something nutritious and actually something that's going to nurture the body if you have to keep with a schedule from day to day. And I think, most of us who try our best to eat right find it complicated at times. Now, experts say social distancing is the best way to fight the virus, and that's understandable, but it isn't easy for our people in particular to do because, most of us have to work multiple jobs just to maintain our livelihoods and our lifestyles. We ride mass transportation, live in crowded housing. How can those of us in these conditions help ourselves?
You're absolutely right. It's not always easy to social distance, and I'm really proud of the people who are trying to do so and really are working hard at it. Wear your mask. We've always said that the masks are to protect people who may have the virus from spreading it.
Right.
And this virus, we don't know who has it. So wear the mask so you protect your neighbor and your neighbor protects you. When wash your hands, basic public health things, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. And we can never say that enough as to how many times you need to wash your hands. You don't realize how many times you touch your face. You're touching your face right now. But it's habit, and it's a natural thing to do. It's not unnatural. And so the more you wash your hands, the better it is. And those simple things can oftentimes save our lives. When we have to be around somebody right now, wear those masks and don't go out partying. I mean, it's very disheartening. Well, ain't nowhere to party, Doc. You can party in your house. I'm old
I mean, I think that's what most of us are doing. You know, we've been throwing in-house parties with the people who live in our houses, of course.
And they can get on Zoom and other things like this.
Yeah, we're enjoying each other's company still.
That's right. You having a good time.
Yeah, we're having a good time enjoying each other's company still. You just spoke a bit to the virus being anonymous, not knowing who has it. Which brings me to the question, are there less testing centers in our communities, or does it just appear to be that way?
There are not enough testing sites any place at all. Was on a call with a group from Atlanta business people, because I have our connections to Atlanta, but they're trying to put more testing sites. They're trying to put more drive-through testing sites. There are not enough tests available, including not enough testing sites. And so to answer your question, no, they're not enough in our communities, and they're not enough in anybody's community.
Right.
We also don't have, in rural communities, because I'm from a small town, so we have another issue where, like in big cities, you'll have drive-through testing. In small rural towns, many people don't have a car. And so how do they get tested? And we can't tell them to go hitch a ride with a friend because you're socially distanced.
That's not social distancing. Yeah.
So we got a real problem in some small rural areas as well.
Now, off of that question, you served as U.S. Surgeon General from 2009 to 2013 under Barack Obama, President Obama, number 44. So that brings me to this question. Looking at it from the position we're in right now, of course, hindsight's always 2020. But how could this have been handled better? What has the present administration done to not necessarily hit the nail on the head with response of this virus?
Well, you know, this is a ever-changing, daily changing virus. It's new, it's novel, not novel. We've never had it before, so it's new. Under our administration, the Obama administration, we had H1N1, we had Ebola, we had some other things that were very similar, and we learned from those things, and we tried to put things in place to prepare. It'll be plenty of time in the future to do the autopsy on what this administration has done or not done right. Today, we need to start saving lives, and we need to start saving lives by taking care of ourselves. We know what we need to do. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to take care of our families. I'm working very strongly with the American Heart Association to let people know that you can have underlying heart disease, particularly in the African American community, that you may be at risk. So take your symptoms very seriously. Look after your family members. Test their blood sugars if they got diabetes. Test a couple of your blood sugars. People don't even know they have diabetes. Take your blood pressures and get a lot of sleep and rest, because stress is a major cause of cardiovascular disease and strokes. And believe me, our people are under a lot of stress.
Absolutely. I think, but when you born black, you born with just a little added stress, even as a baby. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you, but I'm also optimistic. I think we're strong people. We were strong.
Yes, we are.
To come across that
extremely resilient.
That passage, we were very strong people, and so our resilience is here. We have to call on that resiliency. Exercise, get out and walk. Be in touch with your family members. Mental health issues is another area that we don't like to talk about.
Right.
But we know that we have, during times of crisis, during times of disasters, we had during Katrina, you have more domestic violence, you have more stress, you have more mental illnesses type things to flare up. Just simple depression, anxiety. We also, other things we don't like to talk about is we need to look out for our young, vulnerable children who are being misused and abused. That makes sure that you can be that person if they need somebody to talk to, that they have somebody to talk to, and pay attention, because we're closed up with family members and we know that there's a risk there. And those are things that we don't often like to think about. So.
Absolutely. I mean, I think what we're finding right now, more people are learning that they don't like to spend time with themselves or the people who they cohabitate with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think this forced sheltering in place let a lot of people know where they stand with their households and with themselves, you know, mentally. So I do think that mental health is a huge, huge portion of it. Now, let me ask the question everybody wants to know, because you said we know what we need to do and we'll get through this. We're resilient. When do you foresee them opening outside again? So when do you think is the best time in a ballpark? We're not going to put your feet to the fire on it, but what do you think is most realistic?
So I'm down here on the Gulf Coast. We went through Katrina. We go through hurricanes. So I always I've been looking at this as Hurricane COVID, right? So Hurricane COVID that went into the Gulf of Mexico. And a few weeks ago, we were feeling the outer bands. I think it's making landfall now. It's here at landfall. And we're seeing the destruction. Everybody knows that when a hurricane makes landfall, there is the eye of the storm. And as we have the eye of the storm, the weather gets better. The sunshine may even come out. But you never go outside during the eye of the storm. You wait until the next part of the storm, could be just as bad as the first, goes by. Once the storm is over, then you start to go out and assess the damage, see how much destruction was there. For us with this virus, to see how much destruction was there, we need to know how much disease was in the community, how many people are now immunized, natural immunity. The only way to do that is to have tests. We're trying to develop those tests. We're working on them fearlessly fast as we can to get those tests, but we don't have them yet. So we don't know how much destruction has been done so far, and we won't know how many people are ready to go back. So until we can get that, I don't think we can know when we're ready to go to normal. So
the answer is we don't have an answer just yet.
You don't have an answer yet, but we're working on it.
Okay, excellent. As long
as we can't go too fast. I mean, we don't want to put people at risk too fast and come back and hurt. You know, all this work we've done in the last few months trying to socially distance will have been for nothing.
Certainly. Now, do you think folks in our community are taking this serious as they should? And if not, like, what can we do, you know, to kind of assist them in understanding the seriousness?
I think many of them are taking it seriously, but not enough. And particularly here in the Gulf Coast at all. I mean, there's some parts of the country that you're just not taking it seriously enough. And you're seeing a little bit more being forced into to taking it seriously, but you still have people out there who are taking it as a joke, saying, I'm going to go partying anyway, I'm going to do this anyway. And I heard this one guy who had been sick and recovered, and he said it best. He says, you're either going to socially distance or you're going to be socially dead. So take your choice. You got to do one or the other, and you can go out and you can party, and then you and your whole group can party together, and you can go to the emergency room together, and you can all die together, because this is life and death. And especially young people, we think I'm old. Young people think they're
I am too. Oh, me too.
They think it can't happen to them, but it really can happen to them. And so we have to try to get them to understand how it can happen to them. And
yeah, well, I mean, I don't have no shame in age, because I was told a while ago, you got two options: you get old or die young.
Either one.
I don't.
Either one. That's right.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I know we spoke about it at the beginning of the conversation. I'd just like to say it again. African Americans, or people of color, because of our underlying health conditions, are dying at more alarming rates than others because due to the virus. What are these conditions again?
High blood pressure, heart disease, strokes, diabetes, smoking. Definitely don't.
Well, wait a minute. You mean smoking cigarettes?
Smoking anything.
Smoking anything. So hookahs,
everything.
Marijuana, weed, gas, kush.
Your lungs need oxygen. They don't need that stuff. So,
okay. So
they need to give us a fighting chance,
Because we were just talking about mental health and remaining stress-free now, Doc.
That's
so
important.
these things don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Well, if you can't breathe, it's kind of hard to be cool.
Well, yeah, that would be, that would provide a certain level of stress. Okay, so how could we, as a community of African Americans and people of color, improve our health in the long term, even after the social distancing and the sheltering in place is over?
Doing the things that we talk about, particularly with the American Heart Association, like exercising, eating healthy, trying to eat right, getting enough sleep.
You have to define eating right to these people now. What does eating right mean to Black folks?
Well, I'm down here in the South, and I had boiled crabs for dinner last night and boiled shrimp and stuff. So, so whatever you can. So when it comes to eating, we try to have, it depends on what your health issues are, but you don't want to eat a lot of fried foods. You don't want to eat a lot of cholesterol, things with a lot of salt in them, things that we know don't help the conditions we're talking about. I'm very hesitant to say certain things, because depending on it depends on your budget. I mean, what kind of money you got? You eat.
Well, listen, most of the time, these guys down here, I'm in Atlanta, and I know a lot of cats living off of hot wings and French fries. You know what I mean?
And mix it up a little bit. I'm a Atlanta person too. I went to Morehouse School of Medicine. I'm a Morehouse woman, as did you know?
Oh,
meaning that when I was
I think I was an oxymoron.
Nope, not for me. I'm one of 20.
Okay.
So when we were the second class at Morehouse School of Medicine, we were still at Morehouse College, and we took classes in Sale Hall. So I'm just like every other, like the Morehouse men.
So you're an anomaly.
Yes.
Okay.
No, we're special. We're special.
Right on. Now, now just follow me here, and please correct me if I'm wrong, which I'm sure you have no problem doing. Now, so as I see it, this virus attacks the respiratory, correct?
Correct.
Which means
we're doing studies to see if it affects other things as well. But
the
studies, the American Heart Association just put $2.6 million into studying underlying heart disease, and particularly around health disparities. But people with heart disease and irregular heart rates, it may be affecting them more as well. But we're trying to find that out. But particularly respiratory.
So with it being respiratory, that in layman's term is there is mucus collecting in the lungs, right?
It can be mucus, but it also can be other things that's blocking the air passages. And most of the time that's mucusy, thick things that look like mucus that's blocking the lungs, yes. preventing
Right.
you from breathing.
And our intake, the things we take, we put in our bodies, like, the beef, porks, certain fatty meats, and even chicken at times, it in the digestive process allows for mucus to collect in the body, sitting, waiting to be activated. Correct?
So you gotta no, it's not correct.
No?
So
Okay.
no. So those things that you described, if they're cooked properly, they're fine. There's nothing. They're good proteins. So the mucus is a response your body has. It's an immune response. It's your body trying to take care of itself. Now it can't have that response if it doesn't have the basic building blocks to make that response. So you need good protein, you need good carbohydrates and all the things that it needs to have an overall healthy body so that you can have a healthy response. It's when those responses are not healthy. That mucus plug that you're talking about is your body trying to overreact to get rid of that virus.
Okay. So there's no direct correlation between fatty meats and mucus.
There's a direct correlation between eating well and eating right and being healthy and making your body as healthy as it can be to be able to respond and be resilient. But I wouldn't tell you that eating a piece of
thank you
chicken
so much
is going to make you sick. So, you can't say maybe eating that chicken wing is going to make you sick. So,
Too much of anything is good for nothing, Doc. Too much water will drown you. You know what I'm saying?
But it'll save your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. On the flip side, I appreciate you so much for having us and sharing with us all of your wealth of information and wisdom. And we're going to do everything we can, man, to shelter in place, social distance, wash our hands, eat right, and see through the eye of the storm.
Thank you very much, and make sure you continue to get the information out to your audience, and you serve a great purpose for doing that. So thank you so much, and being so responsible, like at Xavier we say, for helping us make a more just and humane society.
Well, thank you, Dr. Benjamin. I don't know how responsible I am all the time. I don't want to take too much credit, but for right now, we all want to do the right thing for the greater good of the collective. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. This is an expeditiously exclusive.
Thank you.
Watch your favorite episodes of Expeditiously right now on the Expeditiously YouTube page.